enjoy films that are thoughtful, well acted, and say something meaningful about life, history, or human characters. As for Russian cinema, I would certainly recommend some of our classics, such as Moscow Does Not Believe in Tears and The Cranes Are Flying. Among recently proceed ones, there are also many strong historical dramas and family-oriented movies. Russian cinema is very diverse, and I believe Indonesian audience could find much in that in both interesting and relatable. We introduce Russian films to Indonesian audience regularly at the events held by Embassy in Jakarta, like Russian Days of Cinema or Cinema Night. We are witnessing the erosion of key international arms control mechanisms. Since entering into force in 1970, the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, or NPT, has remained a cornerstone of international security, yet it is now facing serious challenges. A major blow to the International Atomic Energy Agency safeguard system came from the attacks by Israel and the United States against Iran, including strikes on peaceful nuclear and civilian facilities. These actions undermined the principle of the non-proliferation regime and demonstrated the use of NPT as a pretext for military pressure against unwanted governments. At the same time, the arms control situation continues to deteriorate. The United States rejects Russia's proposal for mutual restraint within the framework of the New START Treaty, or NST. The agreement, called the agreement, outdated. The Russian initiatives concerning the post-NPT process has been dismissed. Nevertheless, Russia remains open to political and diplomatic dialogue among the nuclear powers aimed at stabilizing the strategic environment. Achieving progress, however, will require strong political will and collective efforts, which are currently lacking amid growing global tensions. We proceed from the understanding that the Free Trade Agreement between the Eurasian Economic Union, its member states, and the Republic of Indonesia will become a legal booster for Russian export to Indonesia. In cooperation with the Ministry of Trade of the Republic of Indonesia, Kadin, and EAEU embassies, we work together to popularize the new opportunities that the document provides for all the parties. For instance, on April 10, here in Jakarta, we arranged a seminar on the practical aspects of implementation of FTA agreement. Mr. Vladimir Ilichov, Deputy Minister for Economic Development of the Russian Federation, explained main provisions of the documents and delivered Russian plans for further increasing of bilateral trade after a prompt ratification of this agreement by Russia and all EU member states and, of course, Indonesia. Let my answer be concise. The future of Russia-Indonesian cooperation is undoubtedly bright. It is based on traditions of friendship and mutual respect lasting through years. And now, we are not sitting on our hands. Ongoing dynamic work on governmental and business bodies from both countries will definitely result in successful joint projects of every kind in both of our countries. The Russian State Atomic Corporation, Rosatom, is actively working with the Indonesian partners in various spheres. Beyond any doubt, Rosatom is the best nuclear energy company in the world. As for now, 88% of all nuclear power plants in the world that are being constructed for export by one country for another one are being constructed by Rosatom. Just recently, the leadership of Vietnam decided to invite Rosatom to build the first national NPP. Maybe it would become the first NPP in the Southeast Asia. So, Rosatom is ready and willing to help Indonesia to create its own NPP and nuclear energy industry using the most modern and safest solutions in the world. This would be a great boost for the whole national economy and provide sustainable and cheap electricity for millions of Indonesian citizens. Yes, Russia generally supports the process of dedollarization promoted by China and Indonesia, as well as diversification of currency settlements, the development of trade in national currencies, risk reduction, and the strengthening of economic independence. Russian authorities have repeatedly stated the need to reduce dependence on the Western financial system. Russia actively advocates expanding the use of national currencies in international trade, especially within BRICS and bilateral agreements. Well, our countries indeed cooperate in various aspects of energy sector development. I have just told you about the potential of our joint nuclear energy project. On April 13, 2026, presidents of Russia and Indonesia held talks on how we could cooperate in the sphere of oil and gas. Russia also has a profound portfolio of other types of energy sources, including new and renewable energy, hydropower plants, and others. We are always ready to develop of collaboration with Indonesia in this sphere. Russia sees no alternative to returning to comprehensive Middle East settlement process based on a universally recognized international legal framework with the two-state solution as the core principle, which entails respect for the legitimate right and aspirations of the Palestinians to have their own state, coexisting with peace and security with Israel. Russia advocates for returning discussions on the Middle East peace process to the framework of generally recognized international legal framework and the need to quickly achieve a political and diplomatic resolution to the crisis surrounding Iran while taking into account the interests of all states in the region. From the very outset of the current unprecedented escalation in the Middle East, which is the direct consequences of the unprovoked aggression by United States and Israel against Iran, Russia has consistently advocated for unconditional cessation of violence and a political and diplomatic settlement with the subsequent sustainable agreements between Washington and Tehran. On April 7, Russia, along with China, brokered the adoption of the UN Security Council draft resolution on the situation in the Strait of Hormuz. The main point for Russia and China is freedom of navigation in the Persian Gulf that should be restored only when conflict ends with the ceasefire. In February, I held a meeting with the governor of West Kalimantan, Mr. Ria Norsan. We discussed a broad spectrum of projects we could realize together, including a nuclear power plant. The government of the Republic of Indonesia has included several places in West Kalimantan in the list of potential sites for the nuclear power plant construction. If Jakarta invites Russia to help with that, we are always ready to provide our best solutions and technologies. Actually, each day it happens to me to meet smiling Indonesian people that share their positive energy and spirit with me. This inspires me a lot of thought out in my day-to-day routine. One good example is the International Festival of Youth 2026, which will be held in the city of Yekaterinburg. The main events are scheduled to take place from September 11 to September 17, 2026, and registration is still open. The festival will bring together young people from many countries, including Indonesia, and offer a platform for dialogue, cultural exchange, creative projects, and new friendship. I believe such events play an important role in bringing together our nations. St. Petersburg was founded in the year 1703 by the Russian Emperor Peter the Great, who decided to name the city after the Saint Peter. In 1914, as part of the struggle against German influence following the outbreak of the Great World War, The St. Petersburg was renamed as Petrograd, and from 1924 to 1991 the city was known as Leningrad, after the name of the founder of the Soviet Union, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. In October 1991 the city was restored to its historical name, St. Petersburg, which it has retained to these days.